Hi, class. So, for today's story, we're going to read A Chair for My Mother. This is by Vera B. Williams. So, she's the author and she's the illustrator. That means she did two jobs. She wrote the words in this book and she made all of the beautiful pictures. This story is about Rosa and her family. They are saving money to buy a really big, comfortable chair. Let's read and see if they're able to save enough to get the chair that they want. Here's the title page, A Chair for My Mother. My mother works as a waitress in the Blue Tile Diner. And here it is. A diner is a restaurant that people go to, but things happen really quick. It's usually for people who are traveling and they're on the road and they just really want a quick meal. After school, sometimes I go to meet her there. Then her boss, Josephine, gives me a job to do. I wash the salts and peppers and fill the ketchups. One time, I peeled all the onions for the onion soup. When I finish, Josephine says, "Good work, honey," and she pays me. And every time I put half of my money into the jar. So let's look at the jar. Do you see it? It doesn't look like there's very much money in there, right? No, not yet. And it's going to take them a while, isn't it? They've got to fill that jar all the way up to the top. It takes a long time to fill a jar this big. Every day when my mother comes home from work, I take down the jar. My mama empties all of her change from her tips out of her purse for me to count. So when her mom gets tips from being a waitress, she puts them in the jar too. Tips are things that you leave people at the restaurant just to say, "Thank you for bringing me my food. Thank you for being so nice to us." Sometimes my mama is laughing when she comes home from work. Sometimes she's so tired, she falls asleep while I count the money into piles. Some days she has lots of tips. Other days she only has a little. Then she looks worried, but each evening, every single shiny coin goes into the jar. So when she said that sometimes she looks worried, sometimes adults, when they don't feel like maybe they don't have enough money or they're worried that they don't make enough, they might get a little worried. But even if she doesn't make a lot of money in tips, she's still putting coins into the jar. We sit in the kitchen to count the tips. Usually, Grandma sits with us too. While we count, she likes to hum. Often, she has money in her old leather wallet for us. Whenever she gets a good bargain on tomatoes or bananas or something she buys, she puts by the savings and they go into the jar. So they are all working together. The mom, the grandma, and Rosa. And look at the mom. She looks pretty tired, but she's in the kitchen. I bet she would want a really comfortable chair to sit in. When we can't get a single other coin into the jar, we are going to take out all the money and go and buy a chair. Yes, a chair. A wonderful, beautiful, fat, soft armchair. We will get one covered in velvet with roses all over it. We are going to get the best chair in the whole world. That is because our old chairs burned up. There was a big fire in our other house. All our chairs burned. So did our sofa, and so did everything else. That wasn't such a long time ago. One day, my mother and I were coming home from buying new shoes. I had new sandals. She had new pumps. We were walking to our house from the bus. We were looking at everyone's flowers. She was saying she liked red tulips, and I was saying I liked yellow ones. Then we came to our block. Oh no, look at the picture. Rosa and her mom are hurrying. Right outside our house stood two big fire engines. I could see lots of smoke. Tall orange flames came out of our roof. All the neighbors stood in a bunch across the street. Mama grabbed my arm and we ran. My Uncle Sandy saw us and he ran to us. Mama yelled, "Where's Mother?" I yelled, "Where's my grandma?" My Aunt Ida waved and shouted, "She's here, she's here. She's okay. Don't worry." Grandma, she was all right. Our cat was safe too, though it took us a while to find her. There she is. But everything else in our whole house was spoiled. Spoiled means it's gone bad and you can't use it anymore. Look at the picture. That used to be Rosa's house, and everything has been burned. All of her things are destroyed. What was left of the house was turned to charcoal and ashes. We went to stay with my mother's sister, Aunt Ida, and Uncle Sandy. They were able to move into we were able to move into the apartment downstairs. Well, that was nice of them to give them a place to stay. That's what family does. Family helps other family members out. We painted the walls yellow. The floors were all shiny, but the rooms were very empty. They had no furniture to bring to the new apartment. The first day we moved in, the neighbors brought pizza and cake and ice cream, and they brought a lot of other things too. The family across the street brought a table and 3 kitchen chairs. The very old man next door gave us a bed from when his children were younger. My other grandpa, brought us his beautiful rug. My mother's other sister, Sally, had made us red and white curtains. Mama's boss, Josephine, brought pots and pans, silverware and dishes from the diner. My cousin brought me her own stuffed bear. Look at that. Look at that line of people bringing Rosa and her family things to put inside their new apartment. They were really helping this family out. Everyone clapped when my grandma made a speech. "You are all the kindest people," she said, "and we thank you very, very much. It's lucky we're young and we can start all over." Oh my gosh, guys, look at the jar now. It is full of coins. That was last year, but we still have no sofa and no big chairs. When Mama comes home, her feet are hurting. "There's no good place for me to take a load off my feet," she says. That means it's no good place for her to sit down and take a rest. When Grandma wants to sit back and hum and cut up potatoes, she has to get as comfortable as she can on a hard kitchen chair. That's not comfortable for Grandma. So this is how come Mama brought home the biggest jar she could find from the diner. And all the coins started to go into the jar. Yeah, they need a really big jar if they want to save a lot of money. Now the jar is too heavy for me to even lift down anymore. Uncle Sandy gave me a quarter. He had to boost me up so I could put it inside. After supper, Mama and Grandma and I stood in front of the jar. Well, I never would have believed it. But I guess it's full, said Mama. My mother brought home little paper wrappers for the nickels and the dimes and the quarters. I counted them all out, and then we wrapped them all up. On my mother's day off of work, we took all the coins to the bank. The bank exchanged them for $10 bills. So if you take a lot of your coins to the bank, they'll give you money, the paper money instead. Then we took the bus downtown to shop for our chair. We shopped through 4 furniture stores. We tried out big chairs and smaller ones, high chairs and low chairs, soft chairs and harder ones. Grandma said she felt like Goldilocks in the 3 Bears, trying out all of the chairs. Yeah, they want to try different chairs to make sure they find the perfect one, right? The one that's the most comfortable. Finally, we found the chair we were all dreaming of, and the money in the jar was enough to pay for it. We called Aunt Ida and Uncle Sandy. They came right down with their pickup truck to drive the chair home for us. They knew we couldn't wait for it to be delivered. They wanted the chair right away. Look, it's in the back of the pickup truck, and there's Rosa. And you know what? I think they got a chair that matches the curtains that one of the neighbors had given them, right? I tried out our chair in the back of the truck. Mama wouldn't let me sit there while we drove, but they let me sit in it while they carried it up to the door. We set the chair right beside the window with the red and white curtains. I knew it! Grandma and Mama and I sat in it while Aunt Ida took our picture. Now, Grandma sits in it and talks with people going by in the daytime. Mama sits down and watches the news on TV when she comes home from work. After supper, I sit with her, and she can reach right up and turn out the light if I fall asleep in her lap. That is lovely. I bet all of you like to get in your mommy's lap and fall asleep. That's really cozy. And look at their picture. They are so happy. They all work together to get something new for their apartment. So I want you to tell me a way that you help out your family. So all of the neighbors brought things to help Rosa and her family. And I want to know, how do you help? It can be something really small, or it can be something really big that you help out with at home. All right, I can't wait to find out. See you guys.